for the Matrix. This is the podcast that is so dangerous the cops get called. That's how dangerous this podcast is.
I'm telling you, folks, we got some real street cred now.
Exactly.
With the show.
You guys are laughing along with us. I think a caravan just passed by. Convoy.
Yeah, that or the Hells Angels just got here.
Exactly.
I'm not sure. Pretty wild. All right, so here we go.
You're listening to Idea Charger Radio. Hey folks, and welcome back to Success Charger. It's Scott Cooksey with yet another awesome podcast. Folks, I'm really excited about today because, as you know, from the beginning, the podcast has really been about you. What is it going to take, whether you're an entrepreneur, what I call an employeepreneur, you're a solopreneur, you're some other kind of preneur, we don't even know yet because you're so far ahead of the curve, whatever it is that you are, however you describe your success. It's about how you define success and what you need it to be. And one of the most important things that you're going to learn in the world is how you can start doing something and stop doing nothing, which brings us to today's guest. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity while on the road in Oklahoma City working with another client to stop off for a cup of coffee at a local Starbucks with my good friend Patrick Allmond from StopDoingNothing.com. And we had actually a pretty good time during that interview, and I think this week I'm just going to turn it all over to him. So I'm going to let you enjoy the podcast, and at the end we'll let you know where you can hear a slight continuation of this great conversation. Hope you enjoy it. Let us hear from you at podcast@successchargerpodcast.com. And let us know what your thoughts were. And don't forget to stop by at Stitcher Radio or iTunes, wherever you downloaded this, and leave a couple of comments. And of course, you can always get more information at ideacharger.com/podcast. That's where all the details are for the show. Look at that. People are calling in already. So I will, I'm going to grab this call and let you guys get to hearing Patrick. Here we go. Buckle your seatbelts, folks. It's Patrick Allmond.
All right, folks. Hey, guys. It's Scott. Welcome to the show. I'm sitting here in a beautiful, unbelievably, unseasonably awesome.
It's pretty nice tonight.
Pretty nice August evening in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Sitting here with a good friend of mine from StopDoingNothing.com, Patrick Allmond. Patrick, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. This is one of the better nights you've chosen to be in Oklahoma City. It hasn't been this nice in a long time.
No, and I'll tell you what, I grew up in the great state of Oklahoma. I went to college here. We're only about 2.5 weeks away from the kickoff of college football season as we record this. So it might be football season by the time this hits your earbuds, folks. So if it is, you'll know that, we got a little jump on you. But
exactly.
I got to tell you, it's football time in Oklahoma, and that's a good time of the year.
Yeah, we're sitting, and all the noise you're hearing is we're sitting outside of a Starbucks, so, apologize a little bit in advance for the background noise, but it's also, I think, lends some character to his podcast. He's a smart guy, and we're going to work our way through it. I've been looking forward for a while to talking to him about this.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Patrick, tell us a little bit about, let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about Stop Doing Nothing.
Thanks.
That's a pretty good idea.
Yep, I had Stop Doing Nothing for a few years, and it all came about as a premise of me kind of reflecting on my own life and some of the mistakes I've made. And I've just realized the more I mature, a lot of things I want to get done in life, I'm not getting done because I have a lot of great ideas, but I don't execute them. And so Stop Doing Nothing came about from the fact that execution is everything in life. It's really easy to have good ideas, but, people have tons of good ideas for podcasts, but for example, you're someone who's executing a podcast. So if I had to describe Stop Doing Nothing in 2 words, it would be execution and action. And almost everything I write on the website comes about as a result of my own mistakes in life and my own laziness. If you want to read stories of my own laziness, just go read the blog at StopDoingNothing.com.
I love it. So, where do you even go with that?
Exactly.
If you want to read about me doing nothing, I wrote some great stories about it. They're online.
Exactly.
Go check them out. That's how you turn into nothing, folks. Start chronicling the nothing in your life.
Right.
Patrick, you've got a pretty interesting story about your whole life journey. Kind of got you to where you are today, right? We're who we are because of the experiences that we've had.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm in Oklahoma City. Got here in 1990 after I was joined the military. Had a short career at IBM, but I've kind of been on my own with a marketing company ever since then. And that's probably when I started having like the beginning of the thoughts for stop doing nothing.
Well, typically when somebody has a great concept, and right before we started recording, you shared with me kind of a mantra that goes with this, and I'll let you share that here in just a minute, because I think it's really cool. But I'm guessing something happened somewhere that one day you just kind of threw down the gauntlet and said, I've had enough. It's time to stop doing nothing.
Exactly. And probably the first time I ever had that idea is when I was with that big blue company with 3 letters. Well, I might have already said them, but I'll avoid saying them again just because I don't want to get poor Scott sued. But when I was with that company, and that was from 1990 to 1998, I just noticed that my life was not progressing in the right direction and as fast as I wanted it to, and that was due to probably some mental blocks. I wasn't happy with my career. I wasn't happy with some of the people I was working around. And so towards probably towards the 96, 97, 98, I realized I had to make a massive change, and I couldn't do it where I was. And I hear a lot of great things happen in life, either through, as a result of tragedy, or as just a result of making a great leap. And my great leap was in the middle of 98 when I thought I might be able to become some kind of consultant and get paid some kind of money. And that probably 98 was a key year for me in Stop Doing Nothing.
All right, so I got to ask the question because I know a lot of people that are listening to this maybe are sitting in a traditional 9-to-5 right now.
Right.
But they know they've got something greater inside of them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like they're, as we like to say on the podcast here, they're that square peg somebody keeps trying to jam in the round hole, and they just don't want to go.
Exactly.
And people keep hitting them harder with the hammer. You said 1998, pivotal year. You shared a story with me at dinner tonight before we got on here that was about one of your first business trips that you took on your own.
Uh-oh.
And
this is the PG version of the podcast?
Well, you know what? We'll just see how it falls out. So, folks, if you might want to take a look at your podcast right now, and if it has the explicit logo on it, it may have some language that's not suitable for all ages.
No, we're probably good.
But we're all good.
Yeah.
But you shared with me, because I think some of these folks think, you know what, it's just that easy. I'm going to save up enough money to get my what I call the walk-away money.
Right.
Or my stick-it money. Right? Where you go to your boss and you go, stick it, and you walk out.
Exactly.
Right? So you got your walk-away money, you go out there, but you don't just turn on the spigot and have money fall out of it the next day when you start your own business.
No.
Could you share with us a little bit about that? When you decided to stop doing nothing, there were some critical steps that were that nothing that you realized, okay, there's still some things I need to do.
Right.
But I don't want to steal your thunder. So can you share a little bit of that?
A lot of people are really smart, and they go to college and they learn about business theory and philosophy and all the things you do to run a business. And I don't want to steal Miley Cyrus's thing, but I came into business like a wrecking ball. And I remember my first business trip was I believe it was to Iowa, as I was talking about earlier. It was the middle of winter. I remember checking into the hotel, and like the second day, I would go by the front desk, and the front desk was like running my credit card, and like it wasn't clearing. Like my hotel charges for the week were not clearing, and and so it was like I was afraid to walk by the front desk. And fortunately, my wife eventually got a payment on that credit card, and I was able to leave and not get arrested in the state of Iowa. That worked out pretty well. But also, after the first week or two I was there, I was asking the consulting company I was working for, I was like, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money, baby? Where's my money? Show me the money. And they're like, you're a business now. Do you have an invoice? Do you have an expense report? I didn't have any of that stuff. So I remember going down to the business center in the hotel, firing up like Excel 2.0 or Excel 3.0, one of the first versions of Excel, finding an invoice template, and that's where I generated Focus Consulting invoice number 1, ran out in the middle of winter to find the FedEx guy, drop that in the mail, and that's how I discovered that you actually have to run your business like a business.
But people lead you to believe that you just decide that I'm an entrepreneur. And there's a big difference between unemployed and entrepreneur. And some people don't seem to identify that you have to actually do something.
Exactly. I think life, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if life wasn't easier when I was a full-blown W-2 employee and things were taken care of for me and I was calling everything. I've had some nightmares, but at the same time I've had some great freedom, and I actually think now I'm probably unemployed. My mind's been opened up. I've taken, what was it, the red pill or the green pill? I've taken the...
crap, the cops are coming.
I've taken the right pill, and my mind's been opened up for the matrix. This is the podcast that is so dangerous, the cops get called. That's how dangerous this podcast is.
telling you, folks, we got some real street cred now
Exactly.
with the show. I'm excited.
So if someone walks up and wants to sell us a dime bag, we're going to have to cut off the podcast, okay? Anyway, yeah, I've taken the right pill from the Matrix, and my mind's been open. I'm not even sure I could go back to a regular job now, because once I'm living this stop doing nothing life of doing the things I want and helping my wife do the things that she wants, and just being able to hang out with someone like Scott like this, because I own my own business. I get up whenever I want to in the morning. My mind is free now.
Hey, let me kind of transition to this, because you shared with me kind of a mantra that you've got around this idea of stop doing nothing. And what you told me was this. You said great ideas are a dime a dozen. Mm-hmm. Great action is few and far between.
Right.
Great ideas are a dime a dozen. Great actions are few and far between. You know, that begs the question, which half of that statement sounds more like you? Are you just the guy that comes up, or the gal that comes up with the great ideas? Or are you someone who takes great action? Well, as we get back to the second half of the interview, we'll hear more about what Patrick thinks you can do to take some specific action steps to be that person of great action that generates success. Let's get back to Patrick, see what he has to say.
I believe that when everyone's young, we have grand schemes and we have grand life plans of things we want to accomplish, and that's all great. Talk is great, but I also believe talk is cheap. And the older I get every single year, I believe that talk is cheap. The only thing that matters is execution and actions. And again, I've learned this just from my own life and the own mistakes I've made. So I'm kind of on a mission now to tell people that, you know what, ideas are great, but stop talking about ideas and let's talk when you come up with an actionable plan that you're working on every single day. That's those people I want to deal with. And if you're not that kind of person, I want to turn you into that kind of person. I hate people that are always getting ready to get ready, and we see that a lot in the organization that we're a member of. I just came back from one of those conferences, and people leave sessions, they're like, I'm getting ready to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. I'm like, you know what? I saw you last year, and you said the same thing last year. So I can tell Scott's chomping at the bit here because he's got something he wants to say about this too.
Well, you brought back something when you said getting ready to get ready. That brings me back. One of my early in my career, I was going through a formal training program for a large regional bank that's headquartered here in Oklahoma. This was back in the late 90s, and I remember in a very early review with our program manager that was taking us through this training program, and she used that exact phrase to compare me to some of the other people. Wow. Now, what I came to realize later on was that what she was describing in a way was it caught me off guard. It kind of pissed me off, because what I've learned much later as I've studied more about personality styles and what makes people tick and how we process information and the way we have agreements was, this particular case was, there was a project and she said, hey, it's due on Friday. Well, everybody else turned theirs in by Tuesday afternoon.
Right.
Friday morning, she's like, hey, you're the only guy that hasn't turned it in. It's like, you told me it wasn't due till the end of the day today. I'm still working on it. For me, that agreement was already set. I knew when it was due. Right. There was no reason for me to turn it in early. But every time since then, when someone has given me a deadline for something, I've asked myself, might it be to my favor to go ahead and take action now? Right. So really, she did me a favor when she did that. And anytime something has kind of gone off the rails for me, I hear Carol's voice. Carol, if you're listening to this, I'm still thinking about you. It's in my head, and I hear, Cooksey, it's time to start doing it. Time to stop getting ready to get ready. Right. So boy, that really resonated with me, man. I'm glad. That's cool. So that's fired you up too. Yeah. I mean, and there's just so many key pivotal moments in our lives like that. And you obviously remember that to this day. I don't know how long ago that was, but you remember that. 20 years.
20 years. That a key pivotal moment. And I wish I could fish some out of my brain right now, but in moments of stress, I remember thoughts like that, or key moments in my life where people said, what's your excuse? What's your excuse today? And I've stopped running out of excuses. And once you stop running out of excuses, which is another mission of my life, you'll start executing, and your life will be so much better. And you realize you don't have to do everything; you just have to do one thing really good. And again, Scott's evident of this. We're sitting out here in our environment, and almost the sun's going down, and we're still recording a podcast because this guy's going to knock it out every single week.
Oh man, that is too good. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your support. And you've been an inspiration to me. You've got a couple of podcast projects that you've had going on here for a while too.
Right.
I know that's not necessarily the focus of where we were planning to go tonight, but would you? I'd be remiss if you didn't talk about them.
Got it. Okay. Well, my primary business for the longest time has been Focus Digital Marketing Agency at allaboutfocus.com. And I do a weekly video there, which I turn into a podcast and a blog post. But my heart and soul every single week is turning more and more into stopdoingnothing.com. And I have a semi-regular podcast there, which you guys will hopefully go and listen to after you listen to Scott's podcast. But that's where you're going to see more and more of me putting my focus. Ironically, my other company name is Focus, is on the Stop Doing Nothing. Yeah, so I've got all these great catchphrases and all these great domain names, and I'm sitting here at a Starbucks working with Scott tonight. So as opposed to getting at home and being on the treadmill or whatever, but this is the place to be. But yeah, hopefully eventually here in about 6 months ago, I'm hoping to be full time or most of my time on Stop Doing Nothing.
All right, no more hope to be, because
No
we
more
got
hope
some
to
plans.
be. That's right.
We're about to challenge the people here to stop doing nothing.
Exactly.
Right, and we got some good stuff here. And by the way, when you get done with this podcast, I want you to go back out to iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you're picking up your podcast these days, and I want you to go find the Stop Doing Nothing podcast, because Patrick's going to interview me. We're going to take a little different perspective of things.
Exactly.
We're going to bring it out. He's going to make me stop doing nothing other than sit here and laugh while we watch these redneck pickups and things drive by us out here with their loud stereos, and you would never believe we're sitting right across the road here from a major hospital right here in Oklahoma
We're lucky
City.
a helicopter hasn't landed, because there's a helicopter pad right over there. So,
Well, who knows? A minute ago, after the police car went by, we did have a vehicle turn its headlights on, and when the spotlight hit Patrick's face, I thought maybe the cops were coming for him, and we were going to have to wrap it up. But hey, one of the things that I'm very passionate about in my consulting business when I work with leaders is about the power of connection.
okay.
And when you talk about stop doing nothing, what you're really talking about is really getting connected back to yourself.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting, because there's a real satisfaction in that. So much in our life we do because we think we're supposed to do it.
Right.
We do because somebody has set some expectations, or we're told to do something, or we're really coming from a point of scarcity and being afraid. Mm-hmm. And there's something, I know you've heard about it. It sounds like it's this, oh gosh, here he goes on this holistic idea. But there is something amazing when you're able to take control of your life, mm-hmm. control how you spend your time, make decisions, and make choices every single day that directly impact your happiness and your success, and you stop worrying about all this other stuff that's kind of extraneous that's out there.
Right.
And you start to live a more abundant life. Is that kind of what's underneath this idea of stop doing nothing?
Yeah, I have an eventual. Here's my goal when I'm living the perfect stop doing nothing life. Is I'm going to be able to eventually wake up without an alarm clock, because I won't dread waking up. On the days, for example, that I know I get to do everything I want to do to live the best life I want, and just to base hour by hour, I don't need an alarm clock. I will wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, ready to jump out of bed. Because, with my mind, I'm eventually removing these restrictions of a 7-day work week and an 8 to 5, and just all those normal constraints you're talking about. And connection is a huge part of it. All of my great leaps and bounds of life have been made by connecting with the right people at the right time. So Scott's topic of connect, and if you haven't done so yet, by the way, get a copy of his mini book. Can they get this on ideacharger.com?
Yeah, ideacharger.com.
Yeah. Go get Scott's mini book, 77 idea charges to generate high voltage results today. But that's just like a little mini motivational book that's going to show you how to do some of these things you're talking about when it comes to freeing your mind. But yeah, you're right. Freeing your mind, getting out of the constraints that we're raised up with about you have to do this, you have to go to college, you have to get an 8 to 5 job, all these things. It's just an amazing way to live once you get out of that cycle.
Well, let's kind of get to a part where I want to challenge the listeners.
Okay.
All right? You guys this much say, look, we got to stop doing nothing.
Right.
What are some things that people listening to this podcast today can do deliberately so that they can stop doing nothing and they can start taking control of their life?
One of my big things that I'm on a big kick on is the fact that we have a full 7-day week. That's just the way we've set up our Gregorian calendar. And a lot of people that are stuck in the 40 to 50 hour a week grind, they look forward to that Saturday morning where they can sleep in and laze around and play with their kids, which I'm all for playing with my kids. But I tell people to wake up at the same time every single day, every single week. If you wake up at 6 o'clock Monday through Friday, wake up at 6 o'clock on Saturday and work on your thing. Get up, shower, shave, go do your exercise thing, but start acting like you have a full 7 days a week to work on your dreams and work on your side hustle or work on your body or work on your relationship and your marriage, start working on those things on your Saturday and Sunday, and just don't piss those days away. I mean, those are useful days. You can get a lot out of them, and a lot of people like to piss away their weekends, and I'm like, I'm not going to wish, towards the end of my life, I'm not really going to wish I was sleeping in more on my weekends. So it's a big thing for me is waking up the same time, even on Saturdays and Sundays.
Man, I got to tell you, it just, you know what? It's taking that first step, right?
Right.
Stop getting ready to get ready.
Right.
Right? Take some action. Do something.
Right.
I'm hearing in that there's a great freedom when you can wake up and make choices, make decisions. Mm-hmm. If things don't go the way you want, don't be the victim of what somebody else says you can do. Don't let somebody else limit what you're about.
Mm-hmm.
When you really get reconnected with yourself and you just you get to be.
Yeah.
There's something really powerful in that.
Yeah. I said something online once, and somebody thought I was very selfish when I said it. But I said, my ultimate freedom is getting to do when I want, how I want, with who I want it to, however many times I want it to. And someone said that's a very me-centric, I-centric attitude. But I see it more as it's going to allow me to help other people more. And for example, if I could, I would spend probably 30 hours a week volunteering at elementary schools. That's a big kick for me. I really get a kick out of helping kids, see better things in life. But I want to buy my own freedom so I can do that whenever I want to. And that to me would be, one of the ultimate freedom markers right there.
All right, folks. Well, you heard it right here from Patrick Allmond from StopDoingNothing.com. Be sure you stop by and check out his marketing podcast. Got some brilliant ideas, 3 and 5. Don't be fooled, though, folks. Sometimes he goes 6, 8, 10 minutes, but if he does, I promise you, it's twice as good.
3 and 5 days sometimes.
It just depends on how long he wants to go. Now, that's available as a video or an audio podcast.
Exactly. You can go to YouTube and subscribe, go over to iTunes and subscribe. I'm trying to be all over the place.
He's all over the place, but really do yourself a real favor. Go out to Stop Doing Nothing. Go sign up for the updates. Know what's going on. Stay in touch with what's going on with Patrick's World, because as we've talked both during the podcast and he and I visited just before, folks, there's some really amazing stuff that's coming down the pike, and you don't want to miss out. So make sure that you get out there, get into Patrick's World, let him inside of yours, and just start thinking about if you could do anything that you wanted, what would that be? I'm willing to bet, Patrick, you've got a lot of contributors that contribute to your website as well.
Right.
So it's not just your ideas, it's a lot of other like-minded people. So what you're starting to build is a community.
Right. I realize that there's plenty of people out there smarter than me who have had some hardships from me that have great lessons, and if we can all learn from each other, man, wouldn't this be a great world eventually?
Sounds like a good plan. Well, unless you've got something else that you want to add on into that?
Nope, it's been a great talking to you. By now the sun's gone down, but it's still a great temperature here in Oklahoma City.
It's a beautiful night, and this cup of coffee is absolutely delicious. All right, my friends, from Oklahoma City, this is Scott with Success Charger.
Hey, Success Chargers, I hope you enjoyed this interview. We tried something new tonight, and we've got more great interviews in the works for you. So we're going to keep it mixed up and keep great ideas coming to you each and every week. Hey, be sure to let us know that you like the podcast. If you love it, please stop by and give us a 5-star review at iTunes or on Stitcher Radio. We should be up there hopefully by the time this podcast goes live, but I know we're on iTunes. And if you will also be sure to tell your friends. Let's get more people subscribed, get people downloading each and every week to make more Success Chargers out there in the world, because the more of us there are, the more we can energize each other and create some outstanding results, no matter where you are. We'll have all the links to the websites that we talked about and back to Patrick's podcast and his website and everything available in the show notes, so be sure to stop there. Of course, at any time, you can always stop by ideacharger.com/podcast. It gets you all the links to share with your friends, everything you need to know. Let us hear from you at podcast@ideacharger.com, and let us know your thoughts, and we'd love to hear from you. So until next week, this is Scott with Success Charger. Enjoyed what you just heard, please post your 5-star review and subscribe to Success Charger today. Your future is waiting.